The NAACP has a new demand for one of the men investigating Patrick Lyoya's killing by a Grand Rapids police officer.
The Grand Rapids chapter of that group does not believe that Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker can be unbiased in this case.
And we're asking that the city unite together in a way that it never has to create an opportunity that has never been there for all people.
The NAACP says it wants Becker to step away from the case, although Becker is pushing back against that demand.
News Channel 3's Chris Yu joins us live from Grand Rapids City Hall with the latest tonight. Chris.
Yeah, Erica and Andy, the Greater Grand Rapids NAACP is demanding that the Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker recuse himself from deciding whether Officer Christopher Schurr will face criminal charges. They want Michigan's Attorney General to take over instead. But those aren't the only changes that the group wants to see.
If I shot someone in the back of the head in the street, would I be sitting here talking to you right now?
In front of city leaders tonight, protesters voiced frustrations over Patrick Lyoya's killing at the hands of Grand Rapids police.
Why don't you charge the officer who executed our brother?
And in front of the Kent County Prosecutor's office, the NAACP voiced its concerns with the investigation.
We believe and agree that based on the historical relationship between the Kent County Prosecutor's Office and the Grand Rapids Police Department, that a fair and unbiased investigation cannot occur.
The investigation's goal is to find out what happened on April 4th when Officer Christopher Schurr shot and killed Lyoya following a traffic stop and physical struggle. This afternoon, the NAACP and community leaders said they want Kent County Prosecutor Chris Becker to recuse himself.
We're not saying that this office isn't qualified, that they couldn't handle a case like this, but it's the right thing to do because you're too close to it.
Instead, they want Attorney General Dana Nessel to take over.
Some of us, and myself included, believe that this is even more egregious than what happened in Minneapolis and what happened with their AD out there, how Keith Ellison, how he stepped in.
In response, Becker issued this statement saying, quote, "Because I do not know Officer Christopher Schurr, nor did I know Patrick Lyoya, the legal standard for recusal has not been met. I will continue to follow the law regarding this investigation, and I will wait for the report from the Michigan State Police to review the case in light of the law and the facts." The NAACP is also calling for Schurr to be fired.
And start the decertification process that will not allow him to ever serve as a police officer in the state of Michigan.
While the Michigan State Police says they don't have a timeline yet on when the investigation will be completed, Becker says he expects to review the case later this week. Meanwhile, Schurr remains on administrative leave.
Exactly 3 weeks after police shot and killed Patrick Lyoya, Grand Rapids police named the officer who pulled the trigger.
And the chief says he did it in the interest of transparency, although some say his decision comes too late. News Channel 3's Chris Yu is in studio now with the details. Chris.
Yeah, Eric and Andy, Christopher Schurr's name has been circulating on social media for weeks. I've also heard the officer's name at protests in Grand Rapids since police made videos of Lyoya's shooting public. Now, Grand Rapids Police Chief Eric Winstrom had previously said he wouldn't name the officer until Michigan State Police and the Kent County Prosecutor completed their investigations. They wanted the videos. They wanted the officer's name.
How dare you hold the name of a man that killed this man?
The public has been calling for more transparency in the shooting of Patrick Lyoya. Today, the Grand Rapids Police Chief formally identified the officer who killed Lyoya as Christopher Schurr, who joined the department in 2015.
It's a couple weeks too late because social media has already released the name of Christopher Schurr, but I'm very glad that Chief Winstrom has responded to not only the public, but national leadership across the United States of America.
But Kent County Commissioner Robert Womack says more questions still need to be answered.
We need to know if he's been interviewed yet, because we knew after 10 days he had still not been interviewed. So just policies that allow an officer-involved shooting to go 72 hours before the officer can be interviewed, and even extend up to 10 days. Those are policies that definitely need to be changed.
Schurr pulled Lyoya over on April 4th for an alleged license plate violation. Dash and body cam videos show Schurr asking Lyoya for ID. Stop. After a brief struggle, Lyoya ran away on foot. Schurr then tackled Lyoya to the ground, where another struggle ensued. Before Schurr shot and killed Lyoya.
I was shocked to see a police officer climb on top of the back of a man and consider him a threat, to the point that he took a gun out and shot this young 26-year-old in the back of his head.
Although Schurr has not been charged, the police chief says he released the officer's name, quote, in the interest of transparency, to reduce ongoing speculation and to avoid any further confusion. The police department says it will explore changes to its current policies when it comes to transparency.
Tonight, the Grand Rapids police chief explains why he reversed department policy and named Christopher Schurr as the officer who shot and killed Patrick Lyoya earlier this month.
Chief Eric Winstrom says the timing was finally right to name that officer, and that's even though MSP has not finalized its use of force investigation.
News Channel 3's Mike Krafsik is live in Grand Rapids as protesters are out marching right now before they plan to demand more answers at tonight's City Commission meeting. Mike.
Erica and Andy, the protesters gathering here at Rosa Park Circle. The numbers are growing, and they say they won't rest until Officer Christopher Schurr is arrested. The Grand Rapids police chief answering one of their demands by releasing the officer's name yesterday. But tonight, organizers say they'll demand more accountability from all city officials. It's been 22 days since Officer Christopher Schurr shot and killed Patrick Lyoya. For the past 3 weeks, Grand Rapids police say department policy prevented them from releasing the officer's name.
The information eventually will be made public, so it's striking that balance of when the right time is through, as I said, so as not to fear the investigation and to make sure that we're in a position that we can ensure officer safety.
We caught up with Chief Winstrom after he spoke to city commissioners this morning. Winstrom says there were 2 major reasons why he reversed course on the department's policy. The state police investigation into the deadly shooting is nearly complete, and the Grand Rapids Police Department is now protecting Schurr and his family. What kind of protection are you providing to the officer, as you mentioned?
Well, let's just say that it's something that's a concern of ours and that we want to ensure safety, but I'm not going to get into specifics.
Schurr was alone on patrol when he opened fire on Lyoya following a struggle during a traffic stop. In the wake of the 26-year-old's death, Winstrom ordered officers to ride in pairs.
Isn't a permanent solution. It's a temporary. I mean, ideally, I would love to have 2 officers in every car.
Kent County Prosecutor Becker has said he expects to begin reviewing the case this week, though Michigan State Police say there's no timeline for the ongoing investigation. Civil rights groups, including Lyoya's family attorneys, say the chief should have released the officer's name sooner.
To me, the chief only hurt himself and his officer when he withheld this for 3 weeks. He did not have to.
Once again, a live look at protesters gathering here in downtown Grand Rapids. They plan to march to City Hall about a mile down the road to speak out at tonight's City Commission meeting here in Grand Rapids. An organizer tells me they want more transparency from the police department and from all elected officials about what happened to Patrick Lyoya.